figure it's probably about time I officially start this vlog. Full disclosure, I've already filmed several like random clips for it, but haven't actually said like, hi, welcome, this is what we're doing. So that's what I'm doing now, I guess. Let's see. Okay, so the theme for this vlog is LGBT, which is fitting since it's June. So I have 3 selections that I had made that I talked about at the end of last month's vlog. So far I've started my nonfiction pick, which was What's Your Pronoun Beyond He and She by Dennis Barron, and I am enjoying it. It's very interesting. The author has done a lot of research, which I appreciate, and I'll update you as I get further. I'm only, I think I'm like an hour and a half into it, something like that, so I haven't really gotten into like the meat of it yet, but so far so good. And then the other thing I've started, I have it here with me because I plan to continue, Tipping the Velvet by Sarah Waters. I think I'm only like 16% into this. Let's see. Am I even 100 pages in? No, I'm on page 60. So yeah, I'm looking forward to continuing with that. I don't really remember exactly where I was. I do know that, I think her name is Nancy? Yeah, Nancy King. She's like our main character, and she is an oyster girl, which, so like the town her family lives in is famous for their oysters, and her father and her mother own a restaurant where they sell said oysters along with other seafood, and Nancy works there. She's what's known as an oyster girl. She like prepares the oysters or whatever. And then she has like a passion for theater and performing and things like that. So she goes to the theater as much as she can, and she sees this woman who has an act in which she dresses up like a man, and she becomes kind of obsessed with her, and she goes back to see her night after night after night. They end up being friends, then they end up kind of being more than friends, and when I can't remember her name, let me see. Kitty Butler. When Kitty gets a contract for a theater in London, she asks Nancy to go with her, and I'm pretty sure that's where I left off. I don't remember much past that. So yeah, I will keep you updated on that as I go along. For those of you wondering how the puzzle I started in the first vlog turned out, here it is. I do have another puzzle that I'm gonna start, but I'm not quite ready to take this one down yet. I might even get like glue or something so I can put it together because I really like the way it looks. I am, however, about to start a diamond painting while I listen to my audiobook. So the plan was to lay in bed and get some more progress done on Tipping the Velvet, but this fella decided he was gonna hang out in my spot, and I know I could just kick him out, but my dogs pretty much run the show. They're so cute. How do you deny that face? So I finished What's Your Pronoun Beyond He and She. I'm gonna give this update while I'm fixing my nails. This polish has been on for like 2 weeks. My nails are far too long. It's just time. Anyway, Beyond He and She, wait, no. What's Your Pronoun Beyond He and She? Jesus, that title. I just finished it. It was pretty good. I think I'm giving it 4 stars. Honestly though, I think a more apt title would have been In Defense of Singular They, because that's pretty much what the book felt like it was doing. It was just interesting because there's a lot of history there. It turns out that singular they has been in use use for a very long time. It's also interesting that like for hundreds of years, people have been trying to come up with a pronoun that was like genderless for English, because it doesn't really exist, although now they is really just, it kind of filled a void, if you will. I'm not sure that it really like changed my views on anything per se. Like, I was already cool with the pronoun thing, because I don't personally, I just have a respect for people such that if they ask me to refer to them in a specific way, I'm going to do that, whether like I feel the same or not. Like, I don't know, like I'm not like mad if people ask me to use a specific pronoun. It doesn't offend my delicate sensibilities. I just respect people and refer to them in whichever way they choose. It's funny though, because when I first saw they used instead of like he or she, it kind of threw me. And I was talking to a friend about it, and I was like, yeah, but they is plural, so it just doesn't sound right. It feels awkward coming off the tongue. But then we were talking, and I realized I was casually using singular they in the conversation. And I realized that's pretty common. I do that a lot. And that was kind of just the end for me. Like, at the end of the discussion, I was like, oh, yep, nope, that is a thing. I get it. And it does feel pretty natural. So that's just a little story about me. Not that you asked. Anyway, I'm going to keep fighting with this nail polish. And I'll get back to you when I finish something else, I suppose.
Okay, it is the puppy's favorite time of the month because BarkBox is here. Loki, would you settle down? Galapagos Tales of the Tropics, but tails like wagging tails. Hey, calm down. You'll get it when you get it. So that's that. Very cute. Okay, toys. We have this little fella. I believe this is a seal. And we have this guy. Hang on, Loki, you'll get it. Come up here. Stop. Hang on. This is a beef chew. Okay, hold on. We gotta break off a piece for your sister. It's not fair. Ari, come up here, baby. Come on. Good girl. Okay. And then we have Oinky Jerky Sticks and Oinky Rolls. They are pork recipes. God, that's so cute. Are you done already, you little piggy? Here. I'll give you a toy. Hang on, I gotta take all the plastic off it. You want this guy? Oh, okay. Oh, are you ready? Loki, enough treats for now. You want this guy? Or do you want the one your sister has? Because you had to fight her for it. You want this guy? No, you're done with the treat. Hi guys. I was sat here filming a clip for another video. And then I thought, hey, why don't I film a vlog clip? It's been a couple days since I finished tipping the velvet. So here's the thing. I've been waking up with like monstrous headaches, and they pretty much don't go away all day. So like having to focus to talk to people or even a camera or edit videos or anything has been horrifying. But today I'm feeling really good, and so I thought, let's finally update everybody. It is, let's see, it's the 9th of June, and so far I've actually read 8 books this month, and there's a good possibility I'll finish another one today, which would be like a book a day for the first 9 days of June, which is absolute insanity. So Tipping the Velvet. What we're actually here to talk about. Oh my god. This was phenomenal. This ranks pretty high up there with my favorite Sarah Waters books, I think, which is surprising because this was her first book. It is, let's see, have I given you a synopsis? I don't even know. Alright, so Nancy Astley is our main character. She works as an oyster girl in her parents' restaurant. They sell oysters. She's from a place called Whitstable, and it's like super famous for its oysters. Anyway, she has a passion for theater, and one day she goes to the theater and there is an act. It is performed by one Miss Kitty Butler, and she is a male impersonator, or a masher. And Nancy just becomes utterly obsessed with this act. And eventually she gets to meet Kitty Butler, and they become friends, and she starts acting as Kitty's dresser. So when Kitty gets a contract for a theater in London, she asks Nancy to go with her. So Nancy does. Through a series of events, Nancy ends up joining Kitty's act, and they both become male impersonators. But then Kitty does a pretty trashy thing. Kitty actually does a couple pretty trashy things. And Nancy is feeling very betrayed. So she bails. And life is hard for women on the streets in Victorian London. And we get to we get some interesting things, things that I did not know, such as renters, which is basically like people who, they're sex workers, that's what they do. But see, the thing is, Nancy begins wearing her male costumes on the street while she's doing this renting. Very interesting. But she seems to feel the most like herself when she's dressed like a man. She doesn't like the way she's looked at when she is female, which is something I completely understand. Anyway, you kind of follow Nancy through a whole lot of interesting life, and she ends up being like a kept woman for a woman who likes her to dress as a boy. Very complex situations here. Very interesting. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And then at the end, there's some stuff about like women's lib, and I don't know. It was heartwarming and it was interesting. I learned more than I probably wanted to know about sex workers in Victorian London. But that's cool. Anyway. So that was that. I gave that 5 stars because I had started it a while back and then just like wasn't, like May was just a rough month as far as finding myself interested in anything. Like I played more video games than I read. Anyway, after that I pretty much read it in one sitting, which was awesome. It was a long book too. I think it's almost 500 pages. So then I started Middlesex by Eugenides, and this is much better than I anticipated. I'm on page 183. It is kind of more on the literary fiction side, but I don't know, I find this a lot with things that are considered literary fiction. They're more approachable than you might think. I don't know, the way literary fiction is viewed is that it's super highbrow, and sometimes it totally is. But, like, it's more accessible than I think some people would like to have you believe it is. Anyway, this follows the story of, let's go with this. It follows the story of the genetics of one Calliope Stephanitis? I think is how you say that? So, you're kind of... You find out at the beginning that Calliope, who now goes by Cal, is intersex. When he was born, he was thought to be a girl, and then once he hit puberty, some interesting things came to light. So yeah, it was intriguing. So basically, Cal is telling you the story of how this became his life. And so you go back, way back, and you start following from the beginning of this great family secret, which, I mean, it was pretty easy to see where this was going, kind of from the beginning, but I don't think it was meant to be like some big plot twist. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I don't know if it's going to be like a 5-star read for me, but I am enjoying it, and I think it's an interesting story to tell because I think intersex people are often looked at with distaste. They have like the weirdo tag attached to them, but it's like actually a legitimate medical condition. Like, it's a thing that happens, and it happens more often than people realize. So that's been really interesting to learn about. Anyway, I'm gonna go work on some editing and then probably get myself some lunch because it is 11:30. And I have lots and lots of laundry that has to get done. And in the mix of all this, I'm gonna try to finish my 9th book for the month so I can stay on this 1 book a day train. Hiya! I have a little unboxing to throw in here to try and keep things interesting. I got the spring and the summer bookmarks and breadsticks subscription box because I really enjoyed the Persian box that she sent me that I won in a giveaway. So then I just go ahead and open it on camera and maybe tell you a little bit about the service. So first of all the packaging for the bookmarks and breadsticks boxes is eco-friendly. Kim has worked really hard to make that a thing, which I think is awesome. Loki, keep your face out of the thing. Dogs, I swear. Another thing that I think is really cool is that with each box she selects a nonprofit organization, usually something food related, and makes donations. Like, for every box purchase she makes a donation of some sort to said nonprofit. The other final thing that I want to say, because I think it's really cool, is that the books she puts in are all used copies to help cut down on landfill waste, and I appreciate that. As someone who struggles with buying books but loves to have books, it's like a thing in my brain. It's like I love doing it, but I also feel like a sense of guilt when I do. So I appreciate that the books are used and that I am not further contributing to the waste problem. Okay, so spring was lemons, which I love. Oh, and the nonprofit this month, not this month, for spring, was the Love Fridge Chicago. The Love Fridge is a Chicago mutual aid group grounded in food, working to place community refrigerators across the city. I think that's super cool. So first off, we have our little stickers. I think you always get the bookmarks and breadsticks one, at least so far that I've seen, and then you get one that kind of represents the box. So this one is lemons. This is a little mug rug, or like a quilted coaster. It is handmade in New York. Is that where she's from? Yes, she lives in upstate New York. Love supporting small businesses. This is super cute, and I will definitely be using it. Then we have a 3D printed citrus juicer. I don't have one of these, and I suspect my husband and I will be using this because he like makes juice all the time, so I can see him really enjoying this. Then we have orange marmalade with lemons. I bet that's gonna be good. You know what? I'm just gonna smell it. I smell more orange marmalade than lemon, so it'll be interesting. Put that on toast or something. Okay, then we have a couple of bookmarks, both of which have lemons on them. These are very cute. I actually really like this one. Super sturdy. Loki, that's not yours. No. Okay, and then we have the book, which is wrapped, which I love. I think that's such a nice touch. Lemon, A Global History by Toby Soneman? I don't know. Super cute. I love how bright and cheerful and yellow this cover is. And it doesn't seem to be that long, so I think this will be like a nice little chill type of nonfiction read. So that was the spring box. And the summer box I'm very excited about because I know that the theme is ice cream. I am a big fan of ice cream. Okay, so the nonprofit for the summer box is Feed More Western New York. I know Kim just recently moved to Western New York, and I think that inspired her choice for the donation there. Oh, yeah, okay, we got our stickers with the little bookmarks and breadsticks guy, and an ice cream themed sticker as well. Let's see. Oh, we got another one of those really nice bookmarks. They're very, you can hear how sturdy that is. And this one has ice cream on it and then sprinkles on the other side. And this bit I am very excited for. We have hot fudge and salted caramel. These are so cute with the little driplets. I love that. And then we also got a little container of sprinkles. So we're going to have to get some ice cream, and we are going to have to make some sundaes in this house. Kim said on her little note card here, with a little pamphlet thing that, let me see. Her favorite ice cream is soft serve vanilla with rainbow sprinkles in a cone, or a vanilla custard with caramel syrup. Soft serve vanilla with rainbow sprinkles in a cup was always my go-to. Although I've branched out a little bit since then. But yes, I can appreciate a good vanilla with sprinkles. And for the book, we have a different wrapping paper this time. Sweet Spot, an ice cream binge across America by Amy Ettinger. I mean, that's like a really good summer read, in my opinion. I'm a big fan of ice cream. I would like to take an ice cream binge across America, quite frankly. So that is that for the unboxing. I will leave any relevant information should you wish to purchase a box of your own in the description box, and you can go check out Kim's website. I'll also leave Kim's YouTube channel linked, because you should go check her out as well. Hi, I look something like a drowned rat, because I just got out the shower. But I wanted to just check in real quick, because I finished Middlesex at probably like it's been a minute, okay? And so I really needed to get this done before I forget everything about that book. It blew me away. I can't believe I spent so long being intimidated by it. It was a little on the long side. It was over 500 pages, but it wasn't so literary as to feel inaccessible, which I really appreciated. It's told in an interesting format. So the narrator, who is actually Cal, who's like the main character of the book, but he tells his story as though he's like omniscient, almost more like, okay, so basically Cal is intersex, and the reason I guess that this happened is because of something on his 5th chromosome. Like there was a, I don't want to call it like an abnormality, but it was not like what you normally see there. I can't remember the phrasing now. I wish I could, because I want to get it right. I don't want to sound like an asshole. So, you might be able to hear the AC. I'm not sure. It's very loud in this room. Anyway, Cal is more like telling his story through the point of view of that gene, that chromosome. And so we go back in time to his grandparents,
when they were living in, it's Turkey now, but at the time there was some issues with, like, there was, like, the Greeks and the Turks were at war, and the Greeks were holding it, and then, so they're Greek, but they were living in what is now Turkey. And the Turks defeat the Greeks, and on the way out of town, the Greeks just start burning everything because they don't want to leave anything behind for the Turkish people. So the grandparents flee, right, because they can't live there. So they end up in kind of this makeshift refugee camp in a place called Smyrna. Okay, I got distracted. Where was I? Oh yes, Smyrna. It's not called Smyrna now. I don't know what it's called now. At the time, it was Smyrna. And they were hoping to get on, like, ships to get out. Because they didn't think Smyrna was going to last very long either. Anyway, I'm not sure. So this isn't a book that I feel like there's a ton in the way of spoilers, because it's more the type of book you experience rather than the type of book where there are a ton of plot twists. So if you don't want to know much more about the story, maybe, like, end it here. I'll put in, like, timestamps or something so you can navigate past this part. So the thing is, Cal's grandparents are brother and sister. Apparently, in the small Greek town they lived in, intermarriage was common, but it was more like among cousins, not so much siblings. That was still frowned upon. But because of all the intermarrying, that's where the chromosomal abnormality came into play. It's like something that they see more so in specific small communities where I guess intermarriage is common. Anyway, so that's what happened. But the problem here is that on the way out, they basically, Cal's grandparents got to reinvent themselves. Nobody really had to know who they were. So they got married on the ship that they managed to get on. On their way to America, they were going to go live with their cousin who lived in Detroit. And when they got there, see, they knew some things about said cousin that she wouldn't want her husband to know. So they finally make it to Detroit, and they meet the cousin, and they're like, hey, this is the situation. Let's just not talk about this. And she was like, okay, agreed. So she just told everybody that she picked up her cousin and his wife. That was just the end of it. So years go by, and Cal's grandparents have Cal's father, and then their cousin has a daughter. And I think you see where we're going here. Cal's father marries his second cousin. So now we have that chromosome on both sides creating a child. So they have Cal's older brother, and everything's fine there. He comes out, you know, perfectly quote-unquote normal. But then they choose to have another child. Now, Cal's grandmother, so Cal's father's mom, this is paternal side, she's like, are you sure you want to have another kid? Because over the years, she's learned about issues with heredity and how too close of relationships can cause problems with the physiology of the children. Now, she's envisioning, like, monsters, because I don't think she quite has a grasp on it. But that's that, and they have a child, and they name her Calliope, because the doctor didn't do a very good job looking. He just saw what he thought was a vagina and said, yeah, look, you have a baby girl. That's not exactly all there was to that situation, but nobody notices anything until Calliope hits puberty. And even then, you know, like, when, like, you just don't think, like, that's not, like, being intersex isn't a problem that's, like, common enough that's what you would think when your daughter fails to have a period, fails to get breasts. Like, you just don't think that the problem could be that maybe she's not actually a girl. Like, that's just, especially in, what was it, I think that roughly the early 70s is when she would have been hitting puberty. So it wasn't until, I think she was about 14, she gets into an accident and goes to the hospital, and while she's there, the doctor discovers that something isn't quite right. So they end up taking Calliope to a specialist, and the specialist is, for his day, he was quite advanced, but for our time, not so much. So basically, after talking to Calliope, he decides that because she was reared as a girl, that must be who she is and what she wants to be. So he recommends they have surgery so that she can present normally as female down there, and just give her hormone shots. Because she is XY, so like technically speaking, she is male. So anyway, Calliope finds this out and like panics because she's like, no, this is what I am. You're saying I'm a boy, but that because I was raised as a girl, that's who I should be. And she doesn't like that. So she runs away. She doesn't want to be like cut up and changed. Fair, totally fair. Anyway, she goes and gets a haircut, she buys male clothing, and it just, everything fits right, you know, because she's male. Like, she has testosterone, that's her driving hormone. And so she starts living as Cal, and then we just kind of like get to follow her life, and she goes through some pretty interesting things and very difficult things. And then we also get kind of a peek into the Cal who's telling the story, his modern life, and the struggles that he faces because he never did get surgically altered. And so that's had some issues when it comes to relationships. Really good, really like heart-wrenching. I learned actually quite a bit about being intersex, for starters. And then I also learned a lot about the Detroit area in the 60s and 70s, even earlier than that, because I think it's roughly mid-1920s when Cal's grandparents moved there. So we get to go through that, through the Depression, through the war. And my family is from Detroit. So I feel like I kind of got to see what it must have been like when my grandparents were living there, you know? So I thought that was really, really cool. They talked about the race riots that took place in Detroit in 1967, and kind of, Jeffrey Eugenides kind of cast it in a little bit different light than I've ever thought about it in, simply because it's only ever been taught to me in one way, if it was even taught at all. So I really thought that was an interesting conversation he had there. And yeah, I mean, overall, just really intriguing book. I gave it 4 stars just because there were times when I felt like the pacing was off and the narrative just dragged a little bit and I had to pull myself through it. But overall, I really do recommend reading it. It's fascinating. So that's it on that. I think I'm going to do like a recap before I officially end this vlog. I have been reading other LGBT books, and I might just talk about them real quick, just because, why not? And I thought they were really, really good, and a lot of the books I've been reading right now deal more with this idea of why we're so obsessed with gender binary, and I've really been enjoying reading that and getting to understand different points of view on it, and like getting a little bit more insight into what it's like to be somebody who doesn't feel like they fit into the gender binary. And I've been reading especially a lot of sci-fi where there aren't just 2 genders, like, and I don't know, I've really been enjoying that. So maybe I'll touch on that a little bit when I go to close out this vlog.
Okay, let's wrap this vlog up, shall we? I'll just go in order of how I read them. What's Your Pronoun Beyond He and She by Dennis Barron. I know I talked about this in a clip. I started editing this vlog already. One, so I could see what I'd already said, and so I wasn't repeating myself. And two, because if I leave it until right before I want to post it, I probably will never post it. Because these things are not that easy to edit. There's a lot of footage. Okay, yes. Beyond he and What's Your Pronoun Beyond He and She? Why do I have so much trouble with this title? I will never know. It was really good. It was interesting because the author did a ton of research and can show that the search for a non-gendered singular pronoun in the English language has been going on for centuries. And then he also discusses a little bit about proposed non-gendered pronouns that people have come up with over the years. And then basically he concludes that we don't need a new pronoun because they has been working just fine. I don't really have a problem with his conclusion. It does make sense. It is something that people use frequently. And I don't know. It seems to work. And yeah, I don't really have anything else to say as far as that goes. There are parts that like really bothered me, especially in terms of the using he as like an all-encompassing pronoun because he is better than she or whatever the stupid reasoning was, and how like they would use that in legal documents like the Constitution and laws and things of that nature. And he included women when it came to things like paying fines, but not when it came to things like voting. And it was like, this is why we can't use he to mean everybody, because it's ambiguous and it doesn't make sense and it's very easy to manipulate that however you want. So that was pretty cool. I really enjoyed that bit of it. Next, let's go with Tipping the Velvet by Sarah Waters. I know I kind of went into a lot of detail about this several times. There was one thing I wanted to clarify though. In the first clip, I refer to the main character as Nancy King, and in the second as Nancy Astley. So how this worked was her name is Nancy Astley, but when she goes on the stage to perform with Kitty, she changes her name to Nan King. That's like her stage name. So the synopsis calls her Nancy King, which is why that's what I started out calling her, but then as I was reading, I realized that like, it's not really the case. It was a little confusing. I really like this. I really like pretty much everything Sarah Waters writes, so I wasn't surprised by this at all. If you like historical fiction, and you like reading books about queer characters, I think you'll really like this. It's set in Victorian London, which is fascinating. I'm always interested in queer characters that aren't set in modern day because I love to watch the progression of what was accepted, what was not, how people got around social rules and expectations and things of that nature. So I think that's really cool. I know Sarah Waters always does a ton of research when she writes her books, and I always really appreciate that. And the final book I read for specifically the vlog was Middlesex by Eugenides. I talked about this a lot already, so I don't think I'm going to add to that, but this was fascinating and well worth all the praise it's gotten. I really enjoyed it. I don't know if I'm going to read anything else by the author. We'll see. I haven't heard much that was like exceptional about any of his other works, but if I do, I might consider picking up something in the future. I also read a couple other books that were queer in some way or another. One was, oh my god, what was it called? Well, I remember Clap When You Land, because I read that pretty recently. First off, I love Elizabeth Acevedo. I think she has one of the most beautiful writing styles. She writes, and it's like poetry, but it's still a complete novel. Like, it's beautiful, and she's fabulous. Clap When You Land discusses well, you're following two different girls. They're sisters, but they don't know it. One lives in the Dominican Republic, one lives in New York. They share a father, but they don't realize it. However, the father is in a plane crash, and he dies. And they eventually find out about each other, and it's a lot about grief and secrets and how people are complicated. And it was beautiful. I will probably try to read everything Elizabeth Acevedo writes because she's phenomenal. The other book I read was The Black Tides of Heaven. I might actually continue with the series, I'm not sure yet. I enjoyed book 1 well enough, but I feel like I was happy with that. Like, I don't know if I necessarily want to continue with it. I kind of wish it had just been a little bit longer and just wrapped up the whole thing. I believe it's a fantasy world, and in this world, children are basically, like, they're not assigned a gender at birth. They are, like, agender, I guess, until they choose what they want to be. For some kids, they make it pretty clear when they're toddlers. Others just don't really make a decision about it until they're closer to adulthood. I thought that was very interesting. It's just, I don't know, it's always interesting to me to see what other people envision, like the ideal culture as. Does that make sense? I love speculating about things like that, and so I thought that was really, really cool. And I really enjoyed that type of a conversation surrounding gender, and like pitching an idea of a different way society could be. I thought that was really cool. The thing with it is that it's less than 300 pages, but it spans like from the time these twins are born till the time they're in like their 30s, I think. So you only get snippets here and there of their lives. They are born to, I don't think she's called like the queen. I can't remember exactly what she's called, but basically she rules over the whole place. And they are given to the priesthood or something along those lines. But then they discover that one of the kids is a prophet, and there hasn't been a prophet born in like a long time, so naturally she wants that kid back. But the priest is like, look, they're twins, they've been together their whole lives, they can't live without each other. So he goes ahead and he just sends both of them back, even though she had made a deal with him to give one of her children to him. So he released her from that promise and sent both the kids back. And they grow and they change, and the prophet, she chooses to be confirmed as female. The other one chooses to become male. And the one goes back to the priesthood or whatever, and then the other one kind of goes on the run because he just doesn't want to be a part of this. And I don't know, it's like there's not a complete story there, but I enjoyed the way it was written, and I enjoyed just the different ideas about how to approach the idea of gender. I really enjoyed it. Okay, let us spin the wheel and see what we're going to get this month. Or next month, rather. For July. Oof. Okay, we got tomes. That should be interesting. So this is going to be books that are 500 pages or more. Oh Lord. Okay, give me a minute. I'm going to put together a TBR and then I'll come back and we'll talk about it. Okay, so I have a TBR. It's fairly ambitious. First things first, I do own this book, but it's not in here right now and I didn't feel like running out and getting it. But that is The Revolution of Marina M. by Janet Fitch. It's like over 800 pages, so I think that qualifies. This is a book that I don't know a ton about. I know it takes place in Russia, I'm pretty sure, and Brittany read it and loved it, so I'm gonna read it and hopefully love it. The next book I've chosen is Witches Steeped in Gold by Rhiannon Smart. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but if that was an R, I'd pronounce it Rhiannon, so Rhiannon? Anyway, I don't know a ton about this. I just know that it is fantasy based on, I believe, Jamaican folklore or myth, something along those lines. This cover is stunning. It's over 500 pages, not by a ton, it's like 530 pages, but that's still over 500, so it still counts. And then the final book is Catherine the Great, Portrait of a Woman by Robert K. Massey. I just picked this up recently, and I was looking for an excuse to read it, so now I have it. I probably won't be starting these right away. Well, this is, okay, it's the 14th of June right now, but I was planning on posting this vlog like the last Friday of the month, and then I'll start these books for July's vlog. That's the plan anyway. So yeah, it'll be a little bit before I get to them still, but you know, a couple weeks. So those are the plans right now. If you've read any of the books I've chosen, give me your thoughts in the comments. If you have any comments about the books that I read for the LGBT vlog, let me know those as well. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you soon. Bye.